guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be talking about the Urban Decay Marvel Studios Eternal Eyeshadow Palette. This is a new launch. I think it just recently launched in certain countries. I'll insert the picture over here. So today we'll be duping some of the colors of this eyeshadow palette using the colors that I already own in my collection. So today for my eye look, I'm actually using this Wet n Wild palette over here. This one is the Stop Playing Safe palette. So this is how my eye looks like. So I use the darker color, this dark blue, at the outer corner. And then I also use this matte dark brown at the very edge of the outer corner to darken out the look. And at the center part, I actually went in with this light green shade. So this is a nice kind of bluish green shade at the center part, and I lightened the inner corner using this light yellow. So this is the look I get. So for the first color, we have this white color shade. I'll be using my Marc Jacobs palette. This is the Extravagance palette. So I will be taking this white shade over here. I think this color is not that dark, so it's a bit harder to see. Okay, finally get some color over here. Okay, and then the next color, what is this color called? This is called the Family is Eternal color. So I'll be using my Natasha Denona mini palette. So this one is the mini retro. So I'll be taking this color. This one is more similar to the color that we see in this Marvel palette. So the next one is a yellowish color. So this color is called Immortal Warrior. So for this yellowish shade, you will see me actually using this palette quite a lot because I feel that the color stories are really very similar. As you can see over here, we have all the blue and greens and some yellows. So I will be dipping into this palette mostly for my dupes. This is the Wet n Wild palette. And this one is in the Stop Playing Safe. So I'm going to be taking this light yellow shade over here. Wow, this is very creamy. I actually have this palette over a year already, and I hardly dip into it because I've got a lot of other shadows to use. So this is one of my least used palette. And then the next shade we have is called Strength. Yeah, the Strength. So for this color, I will be dipping into my Natasha Denona. This is the Zendo palette. I have deposited this into a small pan. I have another pan of this for the cool colors of the Zendo palette. This is the warm part of the palette. So you can watch my depotting of the Zendo palette series. I will put a link down in the description box if you want to see that video. So this color, I'll be taking this. The color in the Marvel's palette of course looks a little bit lighter, but I think it's mostly around these two shades mixed together, but I'll just be taking this shade over here. So it has more of an orangey tone to it. And then next for this blackish shade over here in the shadows, I'll be going back to this Marc Jacobs palette. I'll be taking this almost black shade over here. So this is the first row of the palette. And then for the next row, we have Devotion. So Devotion is a light cream color. I will be going back to my Wet n Wild, Stop Playing Safe, and I'll be using this color over here. And then next we have the color Astrolabe. Astrolabe is a brownish orangey kind of shade. So I'll be dipping into this color over here. So this is the Astrolabe color, Dupe. And then next we have an orange color. Okay, so this color is quite hard to find a dupe. I found that in most of the palettes I do not have this color. The only color that I can find is in this Natasha Denona Circle Loco palette. So you can see in the Circle Loco palette is really very bright. So I'm going to take this color over here as a dupe for this color called Loyalty. So this is the dupe. So for the next color, Grain of Sand, it is a brownish color, so I will be dipping into the Stop Playing Safe palette, and I will take this color over here. So this is a light matte brown color. It has an orangey undertone. I think the one in the Urban Decay Marvel's palette would be more brown, more of a cool tone brown. Okay, the next one will be the color Famous. It's a dark matte brown with a reddish undertone. I'll be taking this color over here from the same palette, the Stop Playing Safe palette from Wet n Wild. So these are the first two rows of the palette. So next we will go and dive into the last row of the palette. So for the next row, the first color is Merciful, and this is a very gorgeous green shade. So I find that it's more of these two colors mixed together. I really see more of this tone, but at the same time I can see more of a darker green as well. So I'm going to go in ahead with this darker green, and then I'm going to lay some of this lighter shimmery color on top. So this is how the darker green looks like in this Wet n Wild palette. So now I'm going to lay some of this lighter duochrome kind of shade. Not really a duochrome, but it has a very nice bluish greenish sparkle to it. So I feel this is probably how the color will look like in the palette. And then the next color we have, this color is called Genius. So it's a nice purpley shimmer shade. So this I'm going to dive into my Huda Beauty Jaguar palette, and I'm going to take this color over here, this nice lilac shade. So this is a very nice lilac shade. I feel like this is going to be very similar to this new palette from Urban Decay. And then next we have this blue over here. So this one definitely I'll be dipping into this palette again for the blue. So this is the color. And then next we have Protector. So this is a nice shimmery peachy kind of shade, and I do feel like it really looks very similar to this mini retro palette from Natasha Denona. So I'm going to take this first shade over here. So that's the shade from this mini retro palette. And the last shade we have a red, and this red is called the Sonic Boom. So for this red, we are going to dip back into the Natasha Denona Zendo palette again. This one is the palette that I imported again. I'm going to dip into this red shade. That isn't a very good swatch. Let me swatch again. So this is in general how it looks like, the color story that I dupe. So there is actually also a red color in this Stop Playing Safe palette, but I find that this red is more of a dull red compared to the red that I see in the palette. So if you get this palette, I find that you can have most of the colors already also. So this is what I feel like when I first saw this Urban Decay palette. So straight away I think of this palette that I have over here, which is relatively cheap and it gives off the vibe of this palette. Of course I have to dip into some of my other palettes for some of the browns and some of the oranges, but mostly if you are attracted to this Urban Decay's palette just by the blues and the greens, red and some of the shimmers, so I think you can easily get this palette. So that's it. This is my dupe for this palette. I hope you enjoy all my dupe videos. Do like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye guys.